Good morning, everybody. This is Luis Vizcaino here with ExakTime. First of all, it's a pleasure to be hosting all of you this morning. I'm really excited to be sharing, some of the work that Matt and I have been doing, the folks over at National Interior-Scape Network, as well as some of the experiences that we've had, due to this new partnership. What I wanted to kind of set the table with, I wanted to let you know a little bit about how the meeting is going to go. A couple of housekeeping items. If you have a specific question that you're needing answered, I would invite you to just go and type in your question into the question box. I will pause for questions often. If questions come in that are going to be answered shortly in the presentation, I'll indicate that. If not, we'll just go ahead and answer questions as we go, but that'll be definitely the best way to be answering any sort of questions or feedback that you guys might have. With that being said, I want to kick it off over to Matt. Matt, can you hear me okay?
I can, Luis. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. Go ahead.
Well, good morning, everyone from the National Interior-Scape Network, and welcome. I want to thank ExakTime and Luis for making the time to do this webinar and to walk through their solution. I think you're going to really find it beneficial. This is the second one, and since the first one, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from partners that have gotten on with using ExakTime. So again, thank you for everyone for getting on the call, and thanks, Luis, for guiding us through it, and I'll send it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Matt, and welcome everybody else again. So I want to just go ahead and kick it off. I wanted to, again, set the table about what we're going to be looking at and covering today. So we had already a little bit short introduction. I'm going to tell you a little bit about ExakTime. We've been around for quite some time, and we've been servicing clients and partners now for almost 20 years. So we're experts as it relates to time tracking, time and attendance, time card processes, and also simplifying any sort of processes in between that category. So we'll do a quick introduction. Biggest part of the show today is going to be reviewing the ExakTime mobile solution. So how your employees are going to be using ExakTime, or how they could be using ExakTime out in the field, tracking their time and their activity. Then we're going to move on to the online dashboard. That's what the administrative console, that the administrators at the office, managers, owners, have the ability to review, update, edit, any sort of time card or time records. And then we have a really cool, streamlining integration into an accounting package. We'll go and cover that towards the end of the presentation, how we can really help streamline all of your time card records and literally help get those records directly into an accounting package. And we've had a couple examples for that. And then we'll just go over the next steps after this. How do you get a hold of me? How do we set up some more questions, or how do you get signed up, with ExakTime? So, without further ado, ExakTime has been around for, since 1999, just a little bit under 20 years. We're currently serving over 21,000 customers, and really what our goal is to help, empower businesses to really just streamline their entire time card processes, not have to worry about, manual time cards, manual processes, holding employees accountable and being compliant. And that specifically applies to to the folks on this call, as well as our new partners that we've been able to bring on through the National Interior-Scape Network. One of the things that we're really focusing on, and the goal here is to for you to simplify and streamline your own time tracking processes, as it relates to collecting time, managing time records, holding your guys accountable, all of that, simplifying and streamlining all of those time tracking processes, getting you accurate job costing. So we're going to get into some examples on how we can help streamline some of the information that you're capturing on your routes, as well as how do we optimize maybe some of the information that you are gathering or having your techs gather manually right now. How do we help streamline that for you, make your life easier, save you some time and money? And ultimately, how do we help you stay compliant, right? Having some sort of system in place in order to be able to hold employees accountable is not only good for the business as far as short-term gains, but you're also protected against any sort of possible claim or anything that could be being brought against the business, because you have a solution that you have that's 100% compliant. Okay. Okay, that's the pricing. We'll go over that in just a little bit. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I actually want to just get right into, demonstrating the mobile application. So we're going to stop the screen share for just a little bit, and then we're going to move over to the webcam. Okay, Matt, can you confirm for me that you can see the webcam okay?
Cannot see it yet, Luis.
Okay. Any change yet, Matt?
No.
No, okay.
You know, I take that, I can see it now. I had to click on an icon that said share webcam, so I can see it now.
Okay.
So maybe for those that cannot see it, toward the top of your screen is an icon that says share webcam, and now I can see it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for confirming that. I don't have any, any feedback, from the folks on the call, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that we can see the camera okay, and the lighting is okay and all that. So if there's any technical issues, please stop me and, through the questions box, and then we'll work appropriately through that. But now that we have the camera and the tablet in front of us, what I have right now is a tablet. It's an iPad that we're using just as an example to be able to take you through basically two different profiles. So I'm going to show you two areas of the application. One of them is going to be an employee, a technician, anybody that's that's employee at the company that is responsible to track their own time. Okay, so an application that's downloaded specifically to their mobile device or their phone, or a tablet that's provided either by them or by the company. But basically, it's again, any smart device where they're able to download the application. Out of the two profiles that I'll show you, why don't we start with just again, a regular employee starting his day off, accountable and keeping track of his or her own time. So the process is, or the way that the setup goes, is basically the company assigns a 4-digit PIN code to each and every one of the users in the system. That's the PIN code that they're going to be able to use to punch in and punch out and essentially use the application. So in this case, we've assigned a 4-digit PIN code of 2222 to Benjamin Gallagher. Okay, so as Benjamin opens up the application, he gets to his first job site, or he's leaving the office for his route, depending on what what the time is that he's getting started and where he's looking to get tracked. He's going to either initiate, go, or stop. Pretty self-explanatory. We try and make this as simple as possible, both for everybody to use in the field, as well as administrators, owners, and managers, to use in the office, and as well as for them. So go and stop, very self-explanatory. Once we initiate, the application, let's just go ahead and assume that he's starting his day. So we're going to go ahead and hit go. Now, the way that we have this specific database, or this specific example set up, we have just basic account names or basic location names that Matt visits, whether he's going to go on a specific route or he's just going to go and visit these specific locations at any given time. These are the locations that this person is accountable for. Within the subset of locations, you're also going to see a number. So you're going to have a location, or you're going to assign a specific number to a specific name and location. Everything is tracked via GPS. So we're going to get a little bit more in detail right there. But in its most simplest form, what the ability for you to do is to create an account list in the system, designate a specific number for it, or you might already have a specific number for it in your accounting or the way you're set up right now, and then you can help track some of the route information, as well as some of the information that Benjamin specifically is attending to out in the field. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. So I'm going to go and hit cancel here. So once we initiate the app, basically we bring a list of locations. Let's say that Lassen Village Apartments, in this case, because it's the example, is the one that Benjamin is going to visit first. So he's actually on Lassen Village. We're confirming that because we have GPS tied to every single punch. You see the circle right here, the green circle? That's just indicating that Benjamin is closest to Lassen Village Apartments or standing on this specific location. So that's where he wants to punch in. So he just selects that. Next, we have a list of job codes or job costing activity. Now, Everything is 100% customizable, and what we've really been able to do, as far as as it relates to InteriorScape, is really define a list of job codes or job costing that is very specific to you, your environment, and your business. Okay, so my team is going to continue to go through that configuration and setup with you, but in this specific case, we're just having a list of specific job codes. We're just going to say that he's starting his day, he's clocking in. Next, the camera comes on, and it's going to snap a face front picture of Benjamin's face. That's just another form of employee verification. We have a couple different forms of employee verification to ensure that, A, the employee is following the work that he needs to, B, that he's actually on site at the time that he or she says that he's going to be, and C, that we get all these records and information very easily and streamlined, up to the dashboard, so everybody can have these records, automatically online. But most importantly, and in its most simplest form, we just clocked in Benjamin at Lassen Village Apartments at the specific time when we confirmed it with GPS. Okay, so I'm going to go through that example now in real time. So Benjamin arrives at the job site. He hits go. We recommend that he's at Lassen Village Apartments. He's just starting his day. He's going to clock in. Snaps the picture. And that's basically all that Benjamin needs to do. Now, as far as what the office is going to see when all that information is transmitted up through the cloud into the dashboard, I'm going to show you that in a few minutes. But I'm going to pause right now. Is there any specific questions on just the punch-in process, for Benjamin? Or Matt, if you want to add anything that I might have missed that you see that you want to add, let me know.
I think just to reinforce the point of the potential cost codes. If an employee, an InteriorScape company is at an account, they might be doing service, they might be doing replacements, they might be installing flowers, they might be installing holiday. So all those cost codes and more exist or can exist.
Correct. Thank you very much. And again, great opportunity to note that every single database, every single, basically account or new customer is going to be configured 100% to your own business processes. Okay, so there's a lot of there's folks that we've been able to bring on. Not everybody obviously has the same type of processes in the business, although it's the same type of environment. We customize everything to what's going to work best for you individually. Okay. So again, that's just basically punching in and punching out. Now, one of the other areas of functionality that has been useful, very useful to some current customers that have signed on, through the partnership, is an area that we call field notes. So this is an area that we developed. So the employee out in the field can make a note, take a picture, send information, communicate with the office as far as what type of work that person is doing out in the field in real time, and it's also associated to a specific location. And so Benjamin, gets to a specific job site. He needs to, make any sort of documentation, note, take a picture that needs to go back to the office. He can do that right here in the area that we call field notes. And there's a couple areas where an administrator is able to see this, in the back end. But for Benjamin, all he has to do is, he can put in a note if he's doing any sort of service work, any sort of replacement work. That can be all documented right here, and by taking or snapping a quick picture, all this information is sent automatically up to the office, and now they're seeing documentation that's based on this specific account. There's notes that are based on this specific account at this stop, or things that need to be made, and then they're sent up to the cloud, and they're, again, all by a specific location. So this is a really, really good area for us to enable communication to go back and forth as far as how you document activity when you're at an account or out in the field. So Matt, I wanted to kind of bring you in. Is there something that you want to add or provide a couple different examples on field notes here?
Yeah, again, since the initial kickoff a few weeks ago, a lot of people have shared that they're using field notes to report their replacements in. They're using field notes to take a photograph of service challenges. They're using field notes also to communicate customer requests. So simple, we need to add a plant to this office. They can take a picture of the corner and send that into the office, and then the office can, create the proposal or the order for the new plant to be delivered. So, a variety of ways to easily communicate back to the office from the technicians. So.
Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, a lot of our clients love this, and specifically, you know, like Matt indicated, this is being leveraged in a couple different ways that are going to definitely help you guys to communicate back and forth from the folks in the field to the folks at the office, and ultimately have a better record of the activity that goes on in that specific account. Okay, so that's field notes. One of the areas or one of the things to keep in mind, our solution is completely nimble and customizable in the fact that every person in the company could have a potential different role, or every person in the company could have a potential similar role, meaning you're going to have a profile that's set up for Benjamin, that's an employee that's out in the field. You might not have the same profile for another technician because he or she has either a different subset of roles, a subset of permissions, and more importantly, the difference is if I log out as Benjamin Gallagher, I'm going to have the opportunity to log in now either as a manager, as an owner, as a supervisor, what have you, and then you have access to a little bit of a different kind of visibility as to the company and how we're helping you manage time processes and time card records in the company. So if I logged in, I just logged in right now as an administrator or a supervisor. My name is John. We have a couple different examples. So if you have leads or if you're looking you know, to have one person or a couple different people out in the field help manage time records for other people, you can do that as well. It hasn't seemed to really be applied because in this case, because we really see a lot of accountability right back you know, on the techs and the people out in the field. But if you're looking to just look at keep track of more than one individual, you have a supervisor to do that. That supervisor can have the ability to track time for an entire team, an entire group, an entire crew, whatever that might be. Also, you can make different changes across clocking in people in different locations or making any sort of job costing adjustments as well. And then this just basically allows for what I was explaining to you, is being able to clock in a crew or a team, you know, all at once. But again, in this case, John might be a supervisor in the company, but he also needs to keep track of his or her own time. So we have the ability to have John do that as well. One of the really, really cool things here, as an owner or manager, you have a live feed of what's going on in the company. So any sort of punches that are being, you know, tracked and documented right now in real time, you can see that and what's happening, again, through a live feed right on the application from the administrative view. If you pull up Team View, now this information is critical and vital as to, you know, knowing where your employees are at throughout the day, at the end of the day, at the end of the week. You can always pull in real-time Team View. You have GPS location, so you have a record of where all of your employees are at across the city, across the country. The history gives me, again, a full live version of all of the activity that's being documented right now and being sent up. We went over field notes for the technician or the employee. Any sort of manager or supervisor, anybody obviously has the ability to do the same type of documentation. We just enabled field notes to be turned on for both Benjamin and the manager. This is a really cool area. So Lassen Village Apartments is basically designated as an account, as a location. And so, you know, if you want to have information about a specific account or where your team is at as it relates to that specific account, you'll have that right in SiteHub. So you're going to see that at this specific account or location, we have John's crew. We have a total of $155 in labor hours up until this time. For the guys in the field, if John is out in the field, we have a weather widget. Directions to go from one location to the other, and then as well as a nearby restaurant widget. Okay. Now this is a little bit more on the administrative side. Anything and everything that can be done on the application can also obviously be done on the dashboard, on the you know, on the administrative console. However, if you need to make any sort of changes and you need to do them from the application, you can always update or change or modify any sort of employee record right from the application. If you need to add or change a specific count or job location, you can do that as well right on the app, as well as any sort of cost coding that needs to be done. One of the really cool functionalities that we've been able to leverage from some of the you know, new partners that we've been able to help service is to really leverage locations and groups. So, we work with the groupings as far as, specific Costco groups and location groups in order to help you with your route tracking information. So that's the way that we've been able to leverage some of the functionality here in ExakTime, is to create some specific groups as it relates to routes. So I'm going to go back into the pocket clock here. Gave you a really good brief example. Again, this is the administrative side or supervisor, type of dashboard. Is there any feedback or is there any specific questions that I can help with or answer as it relates to the application itself for either a field person or a supervisor, manager, or owner? Okay, it looks like we don't have questions at this time. So thank you very much for this part of the presentation. We're going to be moving on now into the online dashboard part. So what happens when all of these records, are sent up to the office? You've heard me say that already a couple times. Well, we make it really, really, really easy for everybody to use. I'm going to go ahead and pause the webcam right now and move back into the screen sharing for just a little bit. Okay, Matt, I'm going to use it as a quick soundboard here. Can you see my screen that I'm sharing right now? We have the Administrative Console and Time Summit Connect.
Yes, sir, I can see it.
Beautiful, thank you very much. So what I did, folks, was literally just open up a Google web browser. I went into, in this case, it's the database, but you're going to go into Time Summit Connect. Once you enter your own credentials, your own company profile is going to come up. I asked, what happens to all of the records? What happens to all of the activity? Well, it's all being documented and sent up in real time through the cloud into this administrative console. Again, one of the things that you've heard me say is ease of use. So we try to make everything as easy as possible. You have a simple record of the employees that are currently clocked in or working at a specific location. If you need to change locations or have different visibility, you just go back down from a drop-down list on the console dashboard. Again, we make everything really easy. So if you are pulling specific data, things such as, maybe an overtime report or an estimated payroll report. I want to know how much my payroll dollars are up until Wednesday at 3 o'clock across all locations. Very, very simply, you can do that by just entering a report. And if you wanted to do it even easier, just pull it and drag it into your favorites. Mobile device management. So for security reasons, we actually refresh a mobile code. So this is what is sent during the activation time during when you bring on a new device in the company and you need to send a quick activation code. We refresh this and have it available for the administrator to cascade along to everybody in the field. And then one of the really, really important areas we covered earlier was in field notes, right? Electronic documentation, taking pictures, making notes on specific accounts. All that can be sent up through the field notes section. And if you need a more specific record of field notes, you can go back into field notes and you'll have a history and a record of the notes that have been documented across all locations. There can also be a report that pulls the list of the note as well as the locations. So we have information that we can give you and then transcribe from the field notes. So that is the dashboard. Again, very self-explanatory, very, very, very easy to use. One of the areas that we like to focus on is let's go into an employee time card or an entire employee time card record. This is a really, really good example on how the records are transcribed into a specific time card. In this case, it's going to be James Anderson. And we were just looking and doing some very simple cost coding, or in this case, tracking at one specific location, but just moving on from one activity to another. Right, so there's the only specifics that we need to know here is, what time James left the office. He did some traveling. It's going to be right here on his time card, and all of this is managed right through the application. He got to Margot Apartments. He started doing some form work. In this case, we're indicating anything green or anything blue is always going to be okay. Green just means that they're actually on site at the specific job site. They're inside of what we call a geo-fence. I'm going to show you that in just a little bit. Blue is indicating that they're switching from one activity to the other at the same location. So basically when James Anderson entered onto the application that he left the office and was traveling, he arrived at Margot Apartments. When he clocked in at Margot Apartments, automatically logged him out of travel. If he were to have left Margot Apartments and went to a different location, then that activity would be automatically changed on the time card without having to log out, log back in. It's really just about changing activities on the application. Okay, but very simple. In its most simplest form, we collected, where we tracked about 8 hours and 3 minutes. Here in California, we have daily overtime. Wherever you're located, you can adhere to your own overtime policies or your own company policies, set up specific rules and different types of policies as it relates to you and your company. But again, we have 8 hours, 3 minutes for the day, 3 minutes out of overtime, and we continue to go through his time card. All I'm seeing are green icons. And if I see green icons and nothing to me seems out of place, I mean, he worked under 8 hours. He worked just a little bit under 8 hours here. He had 17 minutes of overtime here. Oh, wait, this actually does seem like it's off, or it's a little bit different from the rest of the week. And then we're also indicating that there's a red icon. This just means that there's an error. Anytime that there's an error in the ExakTime system, we're either going to flag a punch or we're going to let you know as an administrator that's behind the administrative console that you need to review this error, right? We're doing the heavy lifting here for you. So in this case, if we hover over the error, it's telling me that James Anderson clocked out a little over half a mile outside of the job site. So in that case, what we want to do is just verify what that punch is. And you can do this at any point in time across any of the punches. But what I'm going to do now, just take a look really quick. I click on the globe, and it brings me GPS data specific to where this punch occurred and in relation to where this specific punch was supposed to occur. So if we see the circle right here, anytime that you enter a specific job site or location or address or anything like that in ExakTime that's considered a location, we're automatically going to default a quarter-mile circle or quarter-mile radius of a fence around that job site. What that means to you is James Anderson or any employee needs to be inside of the circle for all of these punches on the time card to count as green or accurate punches. This is the punch that was not green, it was red, and this is the punch that was outside of the geofence. Now, it could be a couple different things. In its most simplest form, what I see here as an administrator, looks like James forgot to punch out. What James should have done in this case is perhaps go back into the application, enter a field note for the administrator to say, hey, you know what, I forgot to punch out, but I did it later on, so you have a record of my punch. So then now when the administrator sees this punch, they can go back into the list of field notes for that day and see that James Anderson documented that. If he didn't, or if that person did not make a documentation, that means that you need to do a little bit more digging. But at the very most basic and at the very least, we just showed you that there's an error or something's off on the time card, and James was not on site at the time that he said he was supposed to be. Okay, so this is how we're looking at geofencing, this is how we're looking at geo-tracking, and this is how we're looking at geo-stamping, what we call geo-stamping with GPS attached to each and every one of the punches. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions come through at this time, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. This is a really cool and important feature. It's called geo-tracking. So if I go into Geo-tracker, as a company, I have the ability to basically see what somebody's route was executed, or how somebody's route was executed for that specific day. We are pinging the system every 3 minutes based on route location. And so every 3 minutes, if somebody's on this specific route, you're going to be able to see if they made any specific pit stops, how long they were at that specific account, how long that they were at that specific location, were they supposed to be at that location. So this just, again, gives you an extra layer of verification so you can see where your employees are at, and then being able to verify on a secondary screen what the route is to verify it against their time card. Again, just a lot of checks and balances in place for you guys to make it really easy to hold everybody accountable and have accurate time records. Okay, so we talked a lot about geofencing now, a lot about Geo-tracker. I'm going to move back over to the time card. And now from an administrative standpoint, I already went and checked that specific error. I already know that, for one reason or another, I know that James, mistakenly forgot to punch out. So what we can do right here as the administrator, you can edit the time. So if he's only going to be paid up until, 2:20, 2:30, 2 o'clock even, you just change the time and then you make a note. Now we have a compliance and audit trail. So as far as having a compliance list of records or having a compliant list of records, everything is going to have an audit trail, and everything is going to be compliant. The next area that I wanted to show you, so really I wanted to show you a little bit about reporting and what you can do as far as running some of the data that we've gathered so far. But before I do that, I want to ask one more time: is there any specific questions or feedback as it relates to either GPS or viewing somebody's time card, approving time? Any other specific questions? Okay. So let's move on now into reporting. So reporting is crucial, right? Basically, you need to have the ability to report, gather data against all the information that you're asking your employees to track. Now, all of these are all basic reporting, meaning everything is out of the box. A lot of them are really focused on, obviously, time tracking, time and attendance. So the reports are going to be able to be filtered and be looked at by basically three main areas. So you're going to be looking at either a cost code, either an employee, a location, or a combination of any one of them or all three. So if I want to look at just something in its most basic form, which is an employee record, I want to see just my payroll dollars, right? Let's just look at payroll dollars in its most easiest and simplest form for a time period. When I click on view the report, it's going to show me the total estimated payroll for the entire company for a specific pay period or a week. In this case, James Anderson, you can see he worked 36 hours and 32 minutes at a rate of $23.50. His total estimated wage, $862.33. And then you can move on along, obviously, the rest of the company. But now we have the total amount of hours. So any information that needs to be viewed at ExakTime, you need to share it with somebody else in the company. You need to share it with somebody else. Maybe somebody's doing your payroll. You have a third-party payroll company. Very easily, you can export any sort of report out of ExakTime into a spreadsheet, into a PDF file or format, or a CSV file to be able to import into any other system. Okay, so we give you the tools. We have the tools available here for you to just be able to gather data as it relates to payroll, as it relates to time tracking, job costing, locations, all of that information. I'm going to go back to reports, show you a couple different more examples. So one that's really good in your case is going to be maybe a cost code by employee. So at this in this data, what I want to look at is how long did this specific employee spend doing X task at this specific location. In this case, it's just going to be the total of cost codes. So we're going to look at, here's a simple one. Just cleanup, right? This person was doing cleanup at this, the cleanup cost code, excuse me, and these are the hours that were spent total amount of cleanup across the company. If you needed to figure out how long it was spent at a specific location, we just run it from the location side, have a cost code, the employee information, and then we have now all that information. Okay, but it's as easy as just clicking on the data point that you're looking to view or that you're looking to get information out of, clicking on the report. You can also format how you see it or how it's displayed. Again, it's just all ease of use, however you like to see your information. But we really just provide you all of this data, and this data from feedback from our clients is absolutely crucial, right? Any of this data that can be available, again, with a click of a button, we have everything ready for you. And the last thing that I'll say around reporting and data in general, we have the ability to go back and provide any sort of information. If you need to go back a year, if you need to go back 5 years, if you need to go back 2 days, we have the ability to always go back, provide any sort of information, to you as it relates to anything that you see in ExakTime. Okay. So now what I'm going to kind of think about now, instead, take a step back and look at what a whole time card process approval, has looked like so far in ExakTime. So you have employees gathering time in the application, right, holding their time and gathering their time right on the app. You have the administrator coming back and reviewing time records, right? Approving time, making sure that all of the time is correct, checking off on all the flags. Now that we've gotten to the point where we are ready to basically send this information into an accounting package, everything is approved now in the ExakTime system. What we're going to do now is look at our accounting integration. Now, all this information is available right on our website, and this is why I like to go through just the very specific video that we have as it relates to a system that we have called Account Links. And so this specific example is gathering QuickBooks information or information into QuickBooks. We have several more integrations, not only with QuickBooks. We worked with some current partners that we've signed up. Some of them have Sage, some of them have some other accounting packages. But what the export is doing right now is basically saying, hey, QuickBooks or Sage or whatever that package is going to be my system of record. What I'm going to do is map my employees. So I'm going to map the employees that are currently in ExakTime. I want to map the locations that these employees worked at and what I'm wanting to send into QuickBooks. I'm also going to map my cost codes and all the information that I need to, again, be sent into QuickBooks or any accounting package. When we hit export, what we're doing is grabbing that information, the employee record, the location, the service item, the hours totaled automatically between straight and overtime, and we're gathering all that information, putting it into the weekly timesheet automatically. So this process, you know, it varies for everybody individually, but people that I talk to, sometimes this process can take hours, sometimes this process can take days, sometimes it can take even more because you're configuring and reconciling information. We just exported, in the example, you know, a little over 100 records, and we just did it in a matter of 30 to 40 seconds. So that's as easy as it gets, right? We got you to being able to track time on the app, approve time online, have everything be compliant, send everything into your accounting package directly into the timesheet, and now you're ready to cut a check. So we really streamline everything from beginning to end as it relates to time card processes. And oh, by the way, we're giving you all of the data available for you to continue to manage and help support your accounts properly by doing that electronically and doing that digitally. So I'd like to hand it over to Matt. Matt, you know, we went through obviously a really good overview here of the solution. Do you have anything that you think that I might have missed or anything that you want to add?
No, I think you're on track. I think the benefit of it talking to your accounting app is not only cutting the checks and having the data there, but there's also cost accounting, or I'm sorry, job costing advantages as well. So just want to point that out.
Yep, precisely, and thank you for highlighting that. Yeah, it's not only just about being able to manage hours to cut a check. A lot of or some of the clients that we've helped bring on board, you may already have some sort of unique configuration in your accounting package. You may already have a very detailed cost coding process. Our team is very consultative. It's a strategy session. That when we look at a strategy session, anytime that we talk to a customer and we're getting them set up for configuration, we'll be able to strategize with you on what you currently have in your accounting package if you're looking for the integration, and just make your life easier. How do we get that set up in ExakTime? How do we make both systems look really nice and clean for you so we can streamline your processes altogether holistically? Okay, so I'm going to open it up for questions. We had a little bit of a quiet group, so I'm happy to know that hopefully you guys have a really great takeaway, out of the presentation, and you don't have any additional questions. But I'm going to hang out here, for a couple more minutes, answer questions either on the webinar or one-on-one. If you do not have any questions, what I'm going to do after this presentation. Actually, you know what? My mistake. I got excited as far as the integration goes. I didn't go over something that's very, very important, which is pricing, and that's my fault. Excuse me. So let me go back into my presentation and show you what the pricing looks like. and then we'll finish off with next steps and how to get a hold of me. But really quick, so this is the preferred pricing that we have for NIN members. NIN members all receive a 12% discount. We have negotiated pricing, and we have a very specific group of people that are going through configurations and setups that are familiar with the InteriorScape folks. But this is the way that it works. So to get signed up with us, it's very easy. You would get a base package of up to 10 people for $845. This is an annual price. Any additional user licenses, just add that to the base user package. So if you have a total of 12 employees that you're looking to track, one administrator, a manager, an owner, and anyone in that role would require a user license. So that package would be 13 licenses, right, as an example. We have an option of doing a self-guided or startup training. This is a very, very basic training, right? You're looking to really just get away from paper. You want to look at automating some processes, having it go digital in its most simplest form. And you go through a self-setup process. We have all the information for you. But what I'm really recommending is our facilitated training. We have technicians, like I said, that have done configurations that are very specific to InteriorScape. You're able to go through the strategy session with our technicians through the facilitated training, and any sort of training or package that you select and how you want to get set up, we are going to continue to follow up with you through the first few payroll periods. We're not going to leave you out by yourself. We have a very, very service-based approach, and anybody that has signed up with ExakTime can verify that with you. But my recommendation is the facilitated training. You go through the configuration, the strategy session, and then for a QuickBooks integration, so to add that last accounting piece to have both systems either talk to each other or just make your life easier as it relates to an accounting integration, that would be a one-time fee of $349. Most of the integrations are at this price point. Some of the other ones with Sage and some of the more unique accounting packages that you may or may not have do carry a different pricing point. You do have a discount. We just don't include it on the main one because QuickBooks is the one that's the majority. But to close, $845 gets you a package of up to 10 people. Any additional licenses, $84.50. All this is annual. This is a one-time fee only, either your self-guided training or your facilitated training, and then a QuickBooks integration, if optional, at $349. So wanted to provide a couple examples. Here are some of the current partners that we're working with. Very excited to continue to work with these partners and many more. And then here's all my contact information. So based on other conversations or webinars, I've had some people, literally snap a picture of this, but don't worry. I'm going to send everybody here on the call an email. Very, very easy to schedule time with me. I have blocked off some time this afternoon. If you're super excited and have some more questions and want to learn a little bit more about how to get set up as early as this afternoon, I am available. But I'm going to make it very easy for you to get a hold of me. Schedule a call on my calendar. We go through a quick consultation, answer some questions, and then we continue the process from there. I help you review some sort of package that works best for you and your environment. And then the sign-up process is very easy. It's all electronic. Everything is, I want everybody on the call to feel very comfortable about entering a partnership with ExakTime. Our goal is to help you save time and money, and if for some reason, our goal is not accomplished or ExakTime happens to not be a right fit, we are 100% flexible. We have a money-back guarantee, satisfaction guarantee, a whole team of people ready to be able to support you and align with you guys. So we're continuing, very, very, very excited, but it's as easy as this. So get an email from me, review the package, and then we can talk about an electronic sign-up process, and that's it. So I want to thank everybody on this call, folks from National InteriorScape, our future potential partners. I'm really excited to continue this partnership, and I am available as well as early as this afternoon. And I am going to be sending a copy of this webinar via recording to the folks at National InteriorScape Network. If you have any additional questions, again, you can contact me directly. I will be here for a couple more minutes now answering questions. Matt, did you want to close with anything else or anyone else that you might or anything that you want to say to close the meeting here?
Well, I would again just thank you, Luis, for your energy and your excitement and taking the time to walk everyone through this. It's beneficial for sure. And as Luis said, we'll be getting a video of this, and we will be posting it on the secured area of the website. So if you want someone else in your company to have a look at it, you'll be able to do that. And that'll be, I would say, in the next 48 hours that we'll get that out to everyone. So with that, thanks for everyone for getting on the call. And Luis, thank you very much for your time and effort. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Matt. Everybody have a great rest of the day. Again, I'll hang around here for some individual questions. Thank you.